All right, and welcome back where we are working on topic 3-3 today. 3-3 is being able to fluently multiply one digit numbers by any number of digits above. All right, we're going to actually observe two different ways to do this today. Um, we're going to look at the old school way, and then we're going to look at the new school way. And actually, I think I want to go with the new school way first. So the new school way is we are going to separate our greater number here into its base components. All right. So we're going to separate this 3 here. We're going to create 300. We're going to take our 7 now. It becomes a 70 because it is in the tens place. And finally, our 8, which is just 8. And we're going to use this number here right next to it. What this is going to do is this is going to allow the student to multiply each of these numbers individually. Now, this is actually easier for them than, say, the standard algorithm because it doesn't require a lot uh, of regrouping or carrying over. Um, but it's really easy. It's just like the old school multiplication charts where you put your finger on the 3 and the 8, and then when you come bring them together, it comes out to 24. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at our 2 here, and we're gonna multiply it by 8 to get 16. Then and that's this part right here. Then we're going to look at our 7 and we're going to notice that there's a 0 here. And we're going to use our powers of 10 to annex our 0 down here to the answer, leaving 2 times 7 and 114. And 140 is what 70 times 2 is. Same thing with the 300 here. We're going to annex our two zeros. 1, 2. We don't need these anymore. 2 times 3 is 6. And since we decompose these three numbers up here, pretty much we subtracted them from the base of 378. That means we now have to take our three numbers and we're going to add them back up. So we got our 600, our 140, and our 16. Now, one of the things I have been on and on and on with the kids about is to make sure that their place values are lined up. We had some mess ups today where like the numbers were in between numbers down here and we were getting these astronomical answers that made they were not reasonable at all. We can always get the kids to remember that there are decimals at the end of these numbers, and they know from previous lessons that they need to line up the decimals. So on with it. 0 plus 6, 6, 0 plus 4 plus 1, 5, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So 378 times 2 is 756. This is called an area model. It really breaks down the problem in its base components by multiplying the 1 times the ones place, the ones place times the tens place, and the ones place times the hundreds place. Really, really breaks down the multiplication step by step. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go old school. This is called US standard algorithm. It is just the same as the way we learned it in school, where we are multiplying this 2 by every number above it. So we're going to start off real easy. 2 times 8, 16. We're going to regroup our 1, our 110, because now we're multiplying 2 times 7 tens, which is 14 tens, plus our 110 up here, giving us 15. Regrouping our 1 again, making sure we are adding, and this is where we had a couple of mess ups too. The kids kept wanting to add the regroup number into here. They kept wanting to add this 1 here into the 3 or this 1 into the 7, and we got to get away from that because it'll completely skew our problems. So 2 times 7 was 14 plus 1 is 15. Regroup. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1, 7. That was the same thing we got from our area model. Now this works perfectly for us, especially if we have the opportunity to write it down. The other method will allow us to actually do this mentally if we can think about it in certain terms. We're going to do another one here. Let's go ahead and scroll down here, and we're going to recreate our box. Only this time, instead of 3 parts, we're now going to have 4. Our bottom factor goes on the side. Our top factor here, we now break up into its place value components. So 1 is equal to 1,000, 7 is 700, 4 is 40, and 6 is obviously 6. Now we just do the same thing. We just multiply across. I've been working on making sure that the kids start here for this specific reason. We start here when we multiply. We start in the ones place. We start in the ones place. We got to make sure that we are always, always, always starting in the correct position. So that way, when the kids get used to this here and they start using the standard algorithm, they know, hey, I have to start multiplying here in the ones place. So on we go. 3 times 6, 18. 3 times 40, I'm going to annex my 0. 3 times 4, 12. 3 times 700, I'm going to annex my 2 zeros, leaving me 3 times 7 is 21. And 3 times 1,000, well, that one's really simple, 3,000. Just like before, I'm going to now come over here. I'm going to make sure that my numbers are lined up by place value. And I'm going to add 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 8, and 8 is 8. 0 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1 is 3. 0 plus 1 is 2. And 3 plus 2 is 5. Now, I am going to leave this here because I want you guys to see how close this is to standard algorithm. Um, 3 plus, 3 plus, excuse me, 3 times 6 is 18. There's our 18. Check, check. 3 times 4 is actually 3 times 40. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. Which there's our 120. 3 times 4 is 40 is 120. There's our 120. Check, check. Plus our 1 from the 18 gives us 130. 3 times 7 is 21. So it's 3 times 700 is 2100. Plus 1 is 2200. Regroup my 2. 3 times 1,000 is 3,000. There's that. Plus my 2 is 5. 5,238. It's as easy as it can get. There's our 2,100. There's our 3,000. Boom, easy. Work with the kids on breaking down the greater numbers into base components. Tomorrow, we actually are going to add in our second number here, which for a fifth grader really kind of freaks them out. We do have one more example. I just got to get down to it really quick. And it was one that right here, actually, because of the 0. Because of the 0, this part, the area model actually looks a little different. So we have our thousands, we have our, oh, let's go this way. We have our ones, We have our tens, which we don't need any because there are no tens. So we have our ones, we have our hundreds, we have our thousands. Break this up: 2,000, 200, no tens. So we jump right over to our ones and multiply them by 6. Since there's no tens here, we do not need a box here. 6 times 4, 24. 6 times 200, annex my zeros. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 2,000, annex my zeros. 6 times 2 is 12. And then we just add these up. Making sure my numbers are aligned via place value. 2, 2, 3, 1. This is as easy as we can get, guys. Um, it becomes a little bit more difficult tomorrow on 3-3. If we want, we can go ahead and do this. This is 24. 6 times 4 is 24. Regroup my 2. 6 times 0 is 2 plus 2. Or 6 times 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Regroup. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1, 13. 13,224. 13,224. Our math checks out. Hope you guys have a great evening.